Why are you being arrested?
They think I'm a terrorist.
Are you a terrorist?
I don't know, I don't think so. I held a piece of cardboard. They can be pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for holding a piece of cardboard, you're a terrorist?
Yes.
Anything you'd like to say to Keir Starmer? Would you like to say to the government?
I would like to say to the government, get Yvette Cooper to resign straight away.
Yeah.
I would also like them to fully recognise a two-state solution for Palestine.
Yeah.
I would also like them to bring Netanyahu to court. Sorry. My puppy got me.
Over 500 out of the 800 people who protested with Defend Our Juries in Parliament Square last Saturday were arrested, including many friends of this very channel. This week, My Left Eye has been speaking to some of those who took part about their experiences as well as motivations for holding up placards that support a proscribed terrorist organisation. First up, we have London resident Pete Harrison, who I've had the pleasure of demonstrating with many times myself. This was an audio-only interview, but there are compilations of footage from the protest for you to watch in the background as you listen, so please do enjoy. Okay, everybody, the next guest we've got on this evening from the Defend Our Juries protest at the weekend is Pete. How are you doing, Pete?
I'm not doing too bad, thanks. Resting up, you know.
Good, good. Well rested from Saturday. It looked pretty exhausting, to be honest.
It certainly was. I came to the party anyway because I'm disabled, so I've got aches and pains times 10 today.
Yeah, but brilliant effort for making it out there.
Well, about all I can do these days is sit down, so that was actually quite tailor-made.
Well, yeah, we've done a few laps around Parliament Square together in the past with JSO.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great to see you out there once again. They've had a new lawn since I was last there, so I'm a bit sort of jealous of that as well. It's a lot easier to sit on these days.
Yeah, I bumped into quite a lot of people that we both have in common, whose names I'm not going to particularly drop, but all the usual suspects.
Yeah, I saw a few of the usual suspects in quite a few. Well, I've spoke to a few as well as yourself, but yeah, brilliant stuff.
There's one unusual suspect, which was I went with a mate of mine and also ex-JSO. And as we were coming out of the tube station, because I'm not fully sighted, it takes me a bit of time to sort of go from one medium of lights to another and be successful. And I just finished saying goodbye to somebody and I clattered into a lady. Now, I'd say she was probably, well, I don't think she's going to see 60 again, let's say that. But she had on what I would have called like an ascot ladies top outfit. Big, it was all black and white, coordinated, pearls and Botox.
Yeah.
And I think she'd probably seen better days. But anyway, they were right to talk. So we carried on trying to find our way into the actual centre because it was such a heavy police flood. I'd never seen anything like that. And I used to be in charge of crowd security at the old Wembley. I've never seen police like that. Anyway, we got in and I forgot all about this woman. It's only today I'm looking at various clips people have sent me that I've realised I've clattered into Bianca Jagger.
Oh yeah, Bianca Jagger was there. You like bumped into her.
I mean, literally bumped into her.
Literally. Wow.
Yeah, and of course we both stood there being very, oh I'm sorry, it was my fault, no it was my fault, oh no it was my fault. And then I've had enough of it, so went to play with the police.
Wow, there you go. Rubbing shoulders with the rich and famous.
Well, that's what she said when she said, I saw Peter earlier, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. Really recognisable as well, because she was a model when she was with Jagger, is that right?
Well, I actually saw her back in the day, and she was absolutely beautiful. A real class act. A genuine class act.
Awesome, awesome. Small world.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so I guess what took you down there in the first place and what made you sign up for Defend Our Juries? Was it for this action or were you already involved before Saturday?
Well, I was involved before Saturday because, like many people, my entry entry level into DOJ was the Trudy Warmer case. Now, Trudy happened to be a friend of mine. You were saying about small world, well, you don't get much smaller than that. And so anything I could do to help out her case, I did, and did all the usual, attending courts, sitting outside with placards, in silence, then up to the Royal Court of Justice, same shebang, and eventually, of course, justice prevailed, and they realised that the charge she was on was a complete farrago.
Yep.
Especially as what she was charged for was written up on the walls on the inside of the Old Bailey. I mean, Jesus Christ, they can't have it both ways.
Yeah, a jury has the right to acquit based on their conscience, and it's there on that wooden plate, you know.
Well, of course, Trudy knew that anyway, being a Quaker, because that is one of the central tenets of the Quaker ideology, I believe. I'm not a Quaker myself.
Yeah, it's like a mantra, really, for them, isn't it?
So that got me involved with DOJ, and then, of course, once the government had changed the laws on protesting, what you could and couldn't do, a lot of the last arrests of DOJ became quite heavily weighted in the government's favour. So DOJ then said, well, we better start appearing outside, sorry, excuse me, got hiccups. We should start appearing outside court. So did quite a load of that, and that led into talks about Palestine. Now, my involvement with Palestine is quite unusual in that even as a kid, we knew of Israel and Palestine in our house, and we were the most bog standard working class family living in the middle of the North Downs you could ever find. So we weren't political, although my granny had been a suffragist, but she was never talked about, you know what I mean?
Really?
Just one of those things. She and my dad didn't get on, that's all that was. But the funny thing was, when my dad was waiting to be demobbed after the war, his regiment got billeted out in Jerusalem because they couldn't have all the troops coming back in one go, because it would have wrecked the British economy.
Oh, yeah.
They had to have them all coming back piecemeal. So Dad was waiting his time out in Jerusalem, and he and five of his friends in his regiment or squadron or whatever you want to call it, they were billeted above one of the police stations in the old Jerusalem. And now the story he told my mother was that one weekend, all six of them decided they were going to go out and do some shopping and post letters. Well, I mean, even I, as a young kid, looked at him and thought, couldn't you do better than that, Dad? But anyway, whilst he was out, the Stern gang, who were the original Israeli freedom fighters, stroke terrorists, led by Ben Begin, blew his room up.
Yeah.
So my mum used to say, if she ever had a spat with my dad, she used to say, oh, for God's sake, Harry, I wish you'd gone out shopping that day, or hadn't gone out shopping. You know? So Israel was sort of mentioned. So I must be unusual as like a 10, 11-year-old kid living out in the sticks. I knew a little bit about Israel, but like many things, it sort of went on the back burner, you know. You meet somebody called, then you have settled down, etc., etc. But of course, that's been the one that's jumped up and bit everybody in the bum, isn't it?
Well, yeah. And now they've got a lot to answer for, really, of course.
Oh, Christ, I mean, it's just call it what it was. I mean, I thought the trouble in Rwanda was bad enough years ago. This just makes a mockery of everything. It's just like clearing the land of all its people.
Yeah.
That is genocide. I'm sorry, it's genocide.
It is. There's whatever way you slice it, there's no two ways about it. It matches the complete legal description of it. It's not hyperbolic in any sense, or dramatic, or overstated, or propaganda by Hummus or whatever Netanyahu wants to claim. The truth's the truth.
You're very right. You're absolutely right. This isn't one of these things where the press are gussying it up, making it look or sound bigger or worse. They just have to print a picture and don't even need to put a caption anymore. It's photojournalism at its worst and best.
Yeah, and even now that I can't remember the exact number, but a record number of journalists have been killed, including the 5 just a couple of days ago. You'd think that they'd...
Looking at that on the news just now.
Yeah, but they're still, dragging the feet. They're not painting the true picture. The language that they use is very selective as well. They don't say that Israel have killed whomever. It's with the journalist. One of the 5, the one who they're claiming was also in Hummus, but I don't want to get into that. But they were. I'm sorry, I've forgotten what my point was going to be there. With him, they just focus on that element of the story, and it's like, well, the other 5, nobody's said that they're part of an organisation. Are you not going to support your colleagues? But they still choose to speak on Israel's behalf. Whatever's said, even though no person in the room is there to officially represent them, they'll always come out with but Israel would say this and would say that. They've always got to, wedge that in. It does my head in, Pete. It really does. I'm sure it does for you as well.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. Not a lot really gets into me like that. I'm quite old-fashioned, sort of hard, I suppose. But I just look at all that and I think, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And we have to watch it and do nothing. Well, it was a doing nothing thing. I mean, it got me. I just kept thinking, I can't do much because I'm basically fucked physically. And in the end I thought, no, got to do something. And then the demonstration came up, and because I know lots of people in DOJ, I said, look, can I do this one? Will it be physically possible? And they said, oh, yeah. And as it happened, I was sitting only about 5 or 6 yards away from the paraplegic guy who got lifted. The really big guy, the blind guy in the chair.
Yeah, we was talking about him on the channel, and also mentioning the fact that he was taken away and not the far right UKIP guy, Nick Tanconi.
There's a few of those around as well.
Yeah. So you were How close were you? Did you say?
What, to the paraplegic guy?
Yeah.
Oh, somewhere 10, 15 yards.
God, it looked like absolute fucking scenes.
Well, actually, I've seen, I don't know if it's him, but I've seen, if not a lookalike, get arrested before. So I knew what to look for. In fact, my first ever arrest was way back outside New Scotland Yard. And I was looking after a whole little group of people who were quite seriously unwell, disadvantaged, paraplegic, tetraplegic, all that sort of crowd. They'd been captured by the police right outside New Scotland Yard. And they were quite frightened. So I said I'd stay with them, until we could get them taken to a van or something like that, until Mr. Billy Big Bollock's Gold Command turned up, and he took one look at me and he said to some quivering minion, I want this fucking idiot arrested right now.
What?
Yeah.
You said it exactly like that?
Yeah, I know. Well, I just laughed at him. I said, go fuck yourself.
Oh, yes, Pete.
I'm good at non-violent stuff.
Well, yeah, we're both trained in non-violence, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I said, just go fuck yourself. I mean, I knew I was nicked, so it didn't really matter. I said, look, I know you're going to nick me, but you see the state of these people, they're melting down mentally. I can be your aid to help them get to the van and calm them down. I said, I'll do all that with every one of them, then you can arrest me. And he just said, suit your fucking self, and walked off. And as he walked off, he just shouted back over his shoulder, nick him.
Wow. Oh,
So
yeah.
that was all that was XR, just after XR had started.
Unbelievable. So I was going to ask you, do you think on Saturday there were a lot of physically impaired, blind people, wheelchair users, etc., being taken away? Do you think that was just to bump up the numbers, and they saw them as easy targets? Because if it's going to take 6 to take away someone who is able-bodied but gone limp, then
No, I don't.
no.
This is where my experience of working as a senior crowd controller at Wembley comes in.
Okay.
You try to get people like that away first, because they're going to usually need the most help or consideration or even possibly treatment. So you get those done first, and that clears the ground for other people.
Right, yeah, I see where you're coming from.
And also, it's best for them. Never forget that, because, I mean, you know, I'm thinking, well, I'm pretty fucked, and yet I'm just along from me is a guy who's 20 times worse than me, and he's not batting an eyelid.
Yeah.
So I thought, good on you, sir, you know, so I thought, if he can stick it, I can stick it.
Well, yeah, it really puts it into perspective. Well, we said that a lot in JSO as well, because we have, for example, up here in the north, we had a lady who's registered blind, and I've been on action with her, and she says at talks, you know, if I can do it and I'm registered blind, then why can't you? And it just goes to show that anyone can do it, like practically 99% of people.
Yeah, you might find it hard to believe, but I'm actually registered as blind.
You are?
Yeah, I bet that surprised you, didn't it?
It does actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I've been registered for so many years, well over 20, and when I first got registered, I tripped all these points that meant you got registered as blind. And then a couple of years later, I go back to the hospital, and they said, oh, the government has reclassified you. You're now severely sight impaired. And I said, does it make any difference with the money? And they said, no, none whatsoever. And I said, well, why is all this? And they said, oh, it's more politically acceptable.
Right, okay. Strange.
But there you go. I mean, I do have to use a white stick now, but I'm quite happy with that, because it informs people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was familiar with your mobility issues, but that one.
And it has to be said, like every other person with a stick, when you get arrested, of course you're going to milk it. I mean, before somebody says, oh, that's terrible, I should say, well, you try being fucking blind and see how you get on.
Oh, good.
So there was a lot of exaggerated tapping at the edges of curbs, asking could I be given a help to sit down and stuff like that. And, I mean, I was with Martin, and he said, why are you doing all this? I said, you watch. And when we got into the triage area, which was the biggest heat trap I think they could have found. I don't think they did it deliberately, because you could see the officers were suffering as well. It was like the British establishment's version of the Black Hole of Calcutta. It really was. And there was a couple of hundred people in, like, sort of what they call snake queues, that you go up and down, up and down, up and down, like that, all through the show. And I thought that's going to be a couple of hours before they get to us at the earliest, because they only had about half a dozen people doing the actual processing. So that's when I went into full, officer, can I hold your arm? I'm not feeling very well.
Just 6 people doing over 5,000 processes, did you say? 6?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Well, there may have been half a dozen more somewhere else. There was rumours of another triage centre, I have to say, to be fair, but I don't know whether that's true or not. So yeah, once I started doing the Dying Swan Act, I was suddenly sat in a chair in front of the person who's doing all the processing, with 200 people at least behind me. I could feel the daggers in my back.
Yeah.
They were probably thinking, how the fuck has he got that? Just walked in straight up. But, so afterwards I could say to Martin, that's how you do it. That's how you negotiate your arrest.
Good lesson.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about... Say again?
I reckon that saved us 2 hours.
You think that saved you 2 hours in the whole process, yeah?
An hour and a half, 2 hours at all. And you see, and strange, I was only thinking about this yesterday. At no point did I have to turn out my pockets. I had to produce proof of address. That's all I had to do.
So you weren't searched or anything?
concern. No.
I've seen you being
DNA.
searched quite a few times.
Well, yeah, exactly. No DNA, tongue swabs.
Nothing.
No, nothing. Absolutely, all it was proof of address, and they just made a quick phone call to their superior. They could release me, that I wasn't.
But Peter, you're a terrorist. You may have been heavily armed. Goodness knows how much Semtex you might have had in your socks.
I did offer to declare some cardboard that was in my rucksack.
That's an offensive weapon, Pete. Oh, I hope you're proud of yourself for the danger that you put the public in.
Well, one of the clips that Fergal did, just as I was being carted away, he said, "What have you been arrested for?" And I said, "Well, they think I'm a terrorist." And he said, "Well, are you a terrorist?" I said, "Well, I said, don't know." I said, "But I've got a very sharp piece of cardboard here."
It's that Fergal McKinsey, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant stuff.
Oh, me and him go back years. So every time he sees me, he knows I'm good for a quote, so he just makes a beeline for me.
No, he's a good guy, yeah. Shout out to Fergal as well. So did you get offered the choice? Because I've heard from other people, basically, he gives you details now. You can just sign a thing and then you can go, or we'll take you to the nearest station. And bearing in mind, I don't know if this was mentioned to you, but at one point they said people were being taken as far away as Southampton.
I didn't hear that, but I've got word from a mutual friend of yours and mine who's been for a walk around the area, and he'd seen the triage centre, and he came back and explained it to us. And at that time, not realising that I was allowed to be there for another possibly 3 hours, I said I'd go the full hog. I'd go for the station. Now, what happened there in the intervening time? I must never forget how hot it was that day. It was roasting.
It got into the 30s, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it did.
Maybe 34?
Yeah, no, I don't know about that, but it was hot. It was hot. I mean, I've got a great wristwatch strap on my arm. You should see it. It makes the arms brown, the wristwatch is white. But anyway, so I was thinking, Christ, I don't know how much more of this I could actually take, because I've been chewing painkillers like they were going out of fashion, and I was really was. I was chunking them down.
Just trying to Keith Moon your way through it.
Well, it was trying to stop the pain in the spine, because the pain.
Yeah, it must have been terrible.
It's compacted. I'm sitting on a garden stool, which has got quite a rigid seat area. Now, I worked it out. By the end of the day, what with the stool there and the stool at the triage centre, I've probably been sitting on that point on my spine for nearly 4 hours.
Yeah, you started at 1 p.m. like everyone else, yeah?
Well, 12:30, But
okay.
Let's
so even longer then?
Well, yeah. And I could see that we looked like probably we would have to wait another hour to 2 hours before we could get arrested. You know the score. You get an idea, don't you, when you've got to get arrested?
Yeah.
That's when you start eating your food and taking all your normally pills and all that sort of stuff.
Take my phone. Yeah.
That's it. So, we couldn't get Nick to save our lives, honestly. It was so frustrating. We moved closer to the front. And in the end, I said to Martin, look, don't think any of the worse of me. I said, but he said, what? And he said, what? I've got up, I've just walked up to all these coppers out, and I said, look, you lot want an easy couple of arrests, no going floppy or any bollocks. I said, come do me and my mate, will you, because we're really pissed off. And this cop looked at me, he said, you what? I said, come and nick us, will you? I said, you won't get any ag. I said, we'll all be mates and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when he's come up a couple of minutes later that you've seen me, I'm sitting down there. I said, well, you Spurs? And he said, yeah. And I shook his hand, because I was really coaching Martin on how to get on with your arresting officer and make it easy for yourself without giving anything away.
Yeah. It's a fine art.
I had a Spurs t-shirt on. He saw it, and that caused a lot of laughs. And as they were carting me up into the van, an Arsenal fan's even gone ahead of me. So I had to give him a volley, and I thought, well, what's going to happen here? And the copper said, well done, mate, I'm Spurs as well. So.
Yeah, just for listeners there, Pete is a very avid Tottenham Hotspur fan, so quite a pleasure to be arrested by a fellow supporter.
Well, I have found that if you can find just one little common shared bit of humanity with arresting officers, you'd be surprised. You tend to spend less time in the yard when they're waiting to bring you in. You tend to get the extra biscuits and all that sort of stuff.
But just to be clear, it doesn't count as bribery or coercion or anything like that.
No, well, I also would like to state for the record that in West End Central, apparently I hold the record for the most packets of custard creams eaten during one arrest, which was 12. 12 packets.
12?
Yeah, there's 3 in each packet, so that was 36.
Wow. And how long were you in custody for?
Oh, that was a long one, as it happens. That was 23 hours.
Yeah. Or was it custody creamed?
Oh, very good. Very good. I'm going to borrow that one. Sorry.
Nice. It's yours. Take it.
Oh, wow.
Nice one. Okay, so are you currently under bail conditions? Is the next thing that I was going to ask you. What have you got?
Were so minimal because, for instance, the last lot of bail conditions I had was after Tufton Street, and that was you can't go anywhere in the West End. And I remember saying to the judge, well, what about if I'm just passing through it on a bus?
Yeah, that was the spraying action, wasn't it? In November 23, I believe.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
And the judge said, no, that will still count technically. I said, what, if I'm just going from A to B through Westminster? And he said, yes.
Well, any time, right?
That's where it got a bit silly. He said, well,
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And I said, well, art galleries probably. And he thought I was taking the piss. I said, no, I'm very into art. That's just what it is. And he said, So I said, well, tell me this then. I said, what would you do if I was travelling through Westminster on an underground train? And he didn't have an answer to that.
No.
He just said, I think it's time for lunch.
Yeah, because it's that ridiculous. Any time I've had conditions, you are allowed to pass through there, and specifically, obviously, you can make your way to court there, the areas that you're not allowed in. But that takes the piss, mate.
Yeah, I think he said, well, you could do court and you could do hospitals and doctors, and that was pretty much it.
Oh, good. So that's it. That's all the conditions.
Yeah, but I mean that was in the early days of facial recognition software.
Yeah.
Now they just filmed everybody on Saturday. I was watching them doing it, and you just know now. Like for instance, I would love to go on the next one.
I was going to ask you if you're up for it again, depending on bail conditions, but go on.
I won't be on this one because I'm always. I think we're always afraid. Actually, I'm always afraid about security of tenure where I live. Now, as it happens, I've taken legal soundings in the last week.
Yeah.
From a trade union activist who owes me a real big favour, and her speciality is legal rights for people like me in housing. And she seemed to say that if you get nicked for something that's not violence related, and it's under 6 months, and you can agree to pay your rent, and there are no arrears, then you get the place is yours when you come out. She did say if you get nicked for over 6 months, it's a real ball game.
Yeah.
Does that gel with what you've heard?
I'll tell you a little. One thing I did hear was that just a few days before, specifically because of what was going to happen on Saturday, they pulled everybody's passport photographs. The Home Office allowed the Met to access them so they could put them into the recognition system. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. Is that true or is that scuttlebutt?
I can't confirm or sort of dismiss it at the moment, but I have heard it, mostly through social media at the moment, and some fairly reliable sources, I've got to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I would like to see. I noticed that nobody's got Yvette Cooper in front of a microphone in the last 24 hours and actually asked her what is the evidence.
Yeah, because there's supposed to be this secret information that she has access to, and I know it's bollocks. She's talking about, well, people like you and I and other people who are mutual friends of ours, and we know the organisation and what it is about and everything, and it's absolute bullshit. There's no secret documents, files, evidence of any description.
No. Well, I mean, I can't put my hand on my heart and say I know that for sure. And neither can you, but we know.
Well, yeah. That is.
She's just trying it on, and she's got called out.
Yeah, but specifically about being violent towards another person as opposed to criminal damage. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Even the Met's own internal review said, no, they're not dangerous.
No, it's,
How I think this is going to happen, and tell me what your opinion on this is.
Okay.
Now, I noticed that a couple of people, I think 3 people, have been fast-tracked to the magistrate's court on mid-September. Now, I've got a feeling that those 3 are going to be put back to the other side of the judicial review in November, and I think that's what's going to happen to all the people like me who got nicked on Saturday. I've got to go to Plumstead. You couldn't find a big further way if they tried. But anyway, I'll go to Plumstead towards the end of October, and I'm thinking perhaps all the 500 cases, they will get put by to the end of the judicial review, and then hopefully the judicial review will kick in and sort of say, sorry, we fucked up.
Yeah, hopefully. But
and then we can sue them.
Well, yeah, you can go solicitors, and I really hope they do get it. I was really glad that they at least won the right to appeal.
It was essential.
Yeah,
absolutely essential.
Yeah. And I can't see any way of continuing this. It's just completely unmanageable. Like everyone's been saying for the last 4 days, it's unpoliceable, it's unmanageable. Even if that just happened once a month, it'd be complete chaos. And that's bearing in mind they even come out and said the custodial, what am I looking for? Custodial infrastructure was within days of collapse at least 3 times this year so far. So that would just completely throw it over the cliff.
Well, I also imagine if you went up before a jury. Can you see a jury saying that I'm a terrorist?
No.
They might say it's a Spurs supporter, send him down. But then again, I live in the Chelsea area, so there you go.
Well, it'd put the term getting laughed out of court, pretty literally instead of figuratively. Just no way. Just, if it is done the way it is done, 12 neutral people, good and true, and all that. So, and of course they use the right that they have. Yeah. Based on the conscience. So yeah, what have we got? About 8 weeks between now and then. It's going to be pretty tense.
Yeah, I just wonder if the government, knowing that a second demonstration is going to happen, which I can't see being smaller.
Oh no, no.
I think they've ripped the touch paper under all. Well, it's people my age, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's called a spade and bloody shovel. And we were always like the grey majority. And of course, once lit, I don't think I think a lot of these people will actually surprise people of the younger generation by just how militant they can be. But then again, if you're nearing the end of your life, you tend to think, oh bollocks, I'll give it one for the road.
Yeah, I think over 50% were over 60 is one of the stats that's come out about it. So, for anyone who is in that demographic who's listening to this, you know, if you've got nothing to lose, you may as well give it a go. If you choose to do so, that is, should be clear.
Well, I would say to all my peer group of that age who are listening, give it a go. Not only will you be on the right side of the history, but you will find it personally uplifting. It will really give you a lift up.
Yeah, it's good. You know, it's good for the soul.
Absolutely.
I've certainly got no regrets, even though I'm outside of that demographic myself. Was there anything else I wanted to go through here? I was just basically going to ask you, about the general press representation, about, you know, their reporting on what happened. What have you found in the last few days?
Pretty much as I expected, though some of the editorials in the Times were actually slightly more leaning towards us than normal, which surprised me. I mean, as many people, I follow Jonathan Fuller's review of the papers.
Mm-hmm. Same.
I find that invaluable, because me and John are drinking mates some years back.
Yeah, I bumped into him on the last JSO march.
Oh, top man.
Yeah, great guy.
Absolutely top man. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And actually, another Jonathan was there as he was in an interview today, you know, talking about the whole legality of everything, the whole circus of the Home Office. Jonathan Porritt, who's actually, he used to be Tony Blair's, one of his advisors, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember him from early Greenpeace days as well.
Yeah.
I could never get out. It's terrible. Once you get bad habit, I could never get out the habit of calling him Jonathan Porridge. I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Oh. I don't know if he's watching or not, but I'm sure he won't take offence. Don't worry about it, Pete.
Oh, well, I'll sleep easy.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. There's worse things keep you awake at night, no doubt. Okay, mate. Thanks a lot for talking to us this evening. It's been brilliant catching up and getting your story, your first-hand account. I just want to say how super proud I am of you. Again, it was brilliant seeing so many familiar faces down there, yourself included. So, love and solidarity to you, brother.
Thank you very much, brother, and to you.
All right, you take care, mate. We'll catch up soon.
Bye now.
Good night. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe and thumbs up buttons to help us out on the algorithm. You can now join the channel with a membership for just 99p with some great perks for you to enjoy, including exclusive content and early viewings, plus lots more. And you get to join the list of awesome people who support the channel that you can see on your screen right now. Hit the join button or follow the links in the channel description. If you'd like to make a one-off contribution, then please hit super thanks on the video or follow the link to our Buy Me a Coffee page where you can help to show solidarity and support the channel for just the price of a tasty hot beverage. All contributions are greatly appreciated. Thanks again everyone. My left eye will be seeing you soon.